Okay. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Thursday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. And Restored Motions, RestoredMotions.com. Shout out Crystal Poche if you have pain, book a session. Relief is just a session away. As she says, shift happens. All right, y'all. Got it there in the description. Great news. The college football playoff officially expanding for 2024. The powers that be in college football finally said to the Rose Bowl, you stink. We don't care about you. If you want to come along for the ride, come along for the ride. But if you don't, get out. And the Rose Bowl finally said, okay. And so the Rose Bowl acquiesced. It is now unanimous. Took far longer than anyone dreamed it would. But college football playoff officially expanding to 12 teams in 2024. So I'm very excited about that. You will have 4 byes, first round games on campus. Just going to be awesome theater. Awesome theater. So this playoff, one more season of the 4-team, and then we expand, which is going to be great to see. So, all right, wheels up today, y'all. Heading to Atlanta. So I'm going to get Drew to school, and then this afternoon, me, Hanny, Hester, we will all head to the airport. Wheels up to ATL. An extended version of Hanny time from noon to 3 Central, AFR 3 to 6 tomorrow from Big Kahuna. If you are in Atlanta or are planning to be, know someone who is, let them know. We'll be downtown ATL at Big Kahuna for our broadcasts. Eagle 98.1 Game Day pregame show will be from the SEC Fan Fest in Tiger One Village, and then postgame whiskey and wine, all that stuff will be back at Big Kahuna downtown ATL. So very much looking forward to that. So. All right, y'all, we'll say some good mornings, whatever you got. You know the drill. Fire away, questions, comments, etc. Just did a hit, by the way, on Crane & Company with Jake Crane and the boys. Shout out Trivia. I hope you're watching now. Trivia got a question in. There he is. Trivia got a question in on Crane & Company. So appreciate those guys as always. If you're on YouTube and you're not subscribed to Crane & Company, do so. Those guys do an awesome job. So. All right, Trav 504, what up? Kerry Hughes, good morning. There you go. Great show, Crane & Company. Enjoy Atlanta. Thank you, bud. Tim Gotro, good morning. Double shot of Scone today. There you go. Cliff Nelson, good morning. Hashtag Team Drew. Wendell Norman, Hunter Broadhead, Drew Hubert, Brian Williams. Appreciate y'all for being here. Leon Williams, morning from Dallas, Fort Worth. All right, shout out DFW. Go Tigers and Frogs. My niece is strongly considering becoming a frog. She goes to St. Joseph's Academy. She's finishing she's a sophomore right now, but went and visited TCU this fall and loved it and strongly considered being a frog. We'll see. Don Juan Jose. Morning, Matt. Happy we have a 12-team playoff, home games for the first round on campus. Yup. So here's the thing. So let's take it as it is right now, presently, okay? If playoff were today, this is how it would look. Georgia, Michigan, TCU, Southern Cal would all have a bye. Ohio State would host Washington. Bama would host Utah. Tennessee would host K-State. Penn State would host Clemson. That's pretty stinking cool. So, and then the winners would go on to play Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Southern Cal at the designated bowl sites. That's part of the New Year's 6 games. And then you'd obviously have an independently located national championship game like you do now. All right. Brant Roban, what's good? Tigers need the same mentality A&M had, play like their hair's on fire. Tigers need to throw the ball. That's what they need to do. Todd Harris, David Coslin, Jason Horn, Patrick Landry, Jason Horn, Bad News Birds. Yeah, man, Pels. How about the Pels last night? Zion had a huge night if y'all didn't watch it. Season high in points for Big Z. He was all over the place. Beat Toronto. They're good, man. Y'all, that Pelicans team is good. They're a playoff team. They're not a play-in team. They're a playoff team this year. They're going to make some noise, y'all. They are good, man. Jonathan Amon, what's going on? It's still no McCollum last night. I mean, yeah, dude, they're good. Jonathan Amon, what's going on? Nathan Emerson McCartney, good morning from Pensacola. Right, shout out. Jason Austin, what's up, man? And the update on Jaden's injury. He practiced, so had player availability on Tuesday, and they all said he practiced Tuesday. So good news, they avoided the high ankle sprain. Laid off, it got him some treatment, take that thing up and roll. So, Glenn Thomas, he said, morning, Matt, wide receivers have been the biggest surprise of this year's season. Really expected more. Trivia, when I was on Crane and Company, got into their chat and asked a question about the biggest surprise for the season. And I said, of course, winning the SEC West, beating Bama, all that. But specifically on the team, I said, I think how well the secondary is played, considering you remade that whole thing. I think maybe I was looking at like a pleasant surprise. If you want to sort of thing that I expected to be better, sure. But I mean, you've thrown for 2,500 yards. What you didn't anticipate was having a quarterback that was going to lead you in rushing. I mean, I did. Told you all that all through the offseason. But that does change just how many times you're going to target the receivers downfield. I don't know how much of that is the receivers and how much of that is, Jaden not pushing the ball. So I think it's a little bit of both. Do you think Brian Kelly pulls in a couple surprise recruits that aren't on board already? Oh, absolutely. That always happens every year. Jeremy Sagely, morning, Matt. You flying out tomorrow? I'm jealous. Have a great time. Flying out today, Jeremy. We're flying out today. Couldn't fly on the day of the show. So flying today. And then Hanny and Hester, they'll be on air tomorrow as well. So flying today so we could be there for our shows tomorrow. Yeah, Zion went for 33 and 10. Kenneth Westbrook, Dad, good morning. Good morning, good morning. Let's see. Larry Garner, good morning. Leon Williams, so glad they've expanded. 12 is the right number to play ball. I'd be cool with 16, but and that way you wouldn't have buys. And in a 16-team playoff, this is how it would look. Georgia would play Oregon. I think I'd like to see the rematch, 3 months later. Michigan against Oregon State. TCU hosting LSU. Southern Cal, Florida State. Ohio State, Washington. Bama, Utah. And then we talked about Tennessee, K-State, Penn State, Clemson. I'll take 16. Glenn Crowdis, more Matt. If Douglas had a taste of the playoffs, would he change his mind? By the way, if it existed this year, wouldn't LSU be playing for a chance to get in this Saturday? If Douglas had a taste, who's Douglas? If Douglas had a taste of the playoffs, would he change his mind? I don't know what that means, Douglas, sorry. And would LSU be playing for a chance to get in? Absolutely. You beat Georgia, it's plausible LSU could jump into the top 12. But if you beat Georgia, you would be the SEC champion, so you would automatically be in. Jared Esprit, good morning. Is Brian Kelly going to have his press conference today? Brian Kelly has they have like a teleconference or a Zoom as part of the SEC championship. So it's weird. Like this week, because the game it's not necessarily like LSU's, like part of the regular season schedule, you have a lot of media obligations through the conference that they set up, like that Sunday teleconference, the player interviews on Zoom. Today, Brian Kelly and Kirby Smart each have a Zoom. And then they have a press conference in Atlanta on Friday. Brian Irwin, morning, Matt. Why were athletic director is originally not fond of 12-team playoff. I feel like I remember one time a West Virginia AD say he didn't want it. Brian, I think you just... So I don't know specifically about the West Virginia AD. I mean, Oliver Luck was the AD. You might be talking about Gordon Gee, who was like the chancellor back there at the time. But I don't know specifically what you're referring to. And I don't know that it was ADs or if it was conference commissioners who tend to just be a mouthpiece for their ADs. But I think some people have... The objections you've heard to the expanded playoff are more games, you're risking injury to the players, logistics, can fans travel, all these different things, which are nonsensical because it happens at every level of sport. But I don't know about the West Virginia AD. Let's see. Let's see, thoughts on UAB hiring Trent Dilfer. I think it's a direct result of the success that Deion's had. I think Deion, because it was such an unconventional hire and he's had the success he's had, it's opened the door for other unconventional hires like Jeff Saturday, Trent Dilfer, and I think there will be others. Scott Loom 12, who's co-hosting Whiskey and Wine. So it's probably going to be like me and then some combination of all of our staff who wants to join. Hester will be there. Hanny will be there. Musso will be there. So hopefully it's a celebratory night. LSU pulls a giant upset and we're all celebrating deep into the night. But, you know. And by the way, I think we should mention, the plan is for Whiskey and Wine to follow Hanny's postgame show. Not be... Because we don't have a spot to set up like in the stadium, and I'll be at the game. So as soon as the game ends, Hanny will jet back to Big Kahuna to do post game 90 minutes after the game, and then we'll start Whiskey and Wine. Then Matt Plavidal, morning Matt. Where do you see expansion stopping for the playoffs? 16, 20, 24, 28 teams. I think they'll stick at 12 for a while. I mean, you're going to have a long contract of 12. And I think this will work well. If they do expand again, I would not be opposed to 16. But I feel like that would be far away. Because, Matt, they considered, this working group considered all these different options, scenarios, amount of teams, etc. Right? So they in going from 4, they considered 8 and 12 and 16 and a lot of different models, and this is the one they landed on. So there would have to be some pretty significant glaring issues that would pop up with 12, I think, for them to change from 12 to to anything else. Weston Weaver, Matt Lusto, great morning to you, Scone. Last day of my normie job, going into Bitcoin Bitcoin mining. That's right, we talked about that. You're going to Bitcoin mining. Awesome. Well, good luck with it. If you want to slip me some BTC, happy to accept. Mason Dixon, good morning, Brad David. It's crazy how fast the season goes. Feels like just the other day you were at SEC Media Days. It does. We wait for it, we pine for it all season long. It gets here, and we just like sprint through it. We seldom just stop to enjoy it. It's just head down, plowing through a season. You wake up, it's December, and you're like, season's over. I know. Reed Rule, morning Scone, Bills or Pats tonight? I'm gonna see what the Otter and his crew has to say. See what Paul Nolan has to say as far as the spread. My lean is Bills to win, but Bill Belichick defensively is always tough, man. Stu 3, good morning. Matt Plavidal, Big Kahuna is at the Hawaiian burger joint. I love a tasty burger, Pulp Fiction. Brian Haldane made that joke yesterday, so kudos on the catch. Patrick Ramos, that wasn't the bracket Deli had Twitter. He had Tulane making it. Oh, you're right, because the highest ranked G5 would be in. You're right, which I'm not in favor of at all. And it's not a knock on Tulane. I just don't think the G5 should be guaranteed a spot. You should have to be in the top 12. But anyway. Any chance Walker Howard plays this weekend? I mean, only if the first two guys get hurt, which I hope doesn't happen. Or if LSU's up like by a bajillion, which I hope does happen, but I don't think that happens, no. Wacky Chris, what's up? Let's see, Brad, what network will get the TV rights for playoff expansion? My understanding, Brad, is that it's not going to be one network, that it will be across several networks, kind of like what you have with the NFL, right? How you have NBC, ESPN, Fox, CBS. So I don't think that it's Amazon. I don't think that it's going to be just one network. I think those media rights will be bid out, and we'll see how it plays out. Dax Jeter, Tigers have been so bad on the road. The path to the upset is very narrow. If the defensive line couldn't set the edge and force runs back inside versus A&M, we could have issues against Georgia. Yeah, Dax, Georgia's great. I mean, there's a reason they're a 17.5-point favorite. And I think Georgia's going to move the ball and score points. My bigger question is LSU going to be able to move the football? And they got to do that through the air. Rapping Batches, what's up? Dane Bergeron, PTG Toasty. And I will tell you this, Dax, as well. Georgia on the season is negative in the turnover margin. Like, they will turn the football over. And if they do, LSU's got to capitalize. Brian Williams scanned the web last night, saw that The Athletic had their bowl projections out. They had LSU going to the Vegas Bowl. LSU's not going to the Vegas Bowl, bro. If they lose the SEC championship, they'll go citrus. The next highest ranked SEC team is South Carolina. So LSU would be, if LSU loses this week, they'd be 9-4. Carolina would be 8-4. And Carolina's fans would be fired up to go to the citrus, but I think LSU admin would probably tug on the Citrus Bowl's cape a little bit and be like, hey, our conference championship game, our SEC West champion isn't falling past your bowl. So, Trivia Carter, with playoff expansion moving up, do the OU Texas move happen sooner? No, because Trivia, they've still got to pay their exit fee, and the holdup is Texas could pay it 1 million times over. The holdup is Oklahoma, and they're not moving individually; they'll move together. So no, I don't think it happens. Barring something unforeseen, I don't think it happens sooner. Reagan, let's just share. So I think you're gonna have 2 more years of Texas and OU in the Big 12. I've been to the Rose Bowl game twice. They do nothing for game day experience. They rely solely on legacy. I'm glad they saw the money and their legacy at stake and caved in. Well said. Glenn Crowd is really, it's not even just that. It's more just for the good and of the advancement of all of college football. Steven, let's see, Matt, what would you tell people that say expansion would devalue the regular season? I would tell those people to stop guzzling the Kool-Aid that's been crammed down your throat for decades. College football has the most meaningless regular season of any sport. It is the only sport where you can literally win every game you play and not have a chance to win a championship. The fact that we sit here and consider things like strength of record, strength of schedule, quality home win, quality road loss, game control, turnover, all that stupid crap to let a bunch of people in a room decide who gets to play for a championship is stupid. It's stupid. You know what happens now? Like, let me ask you this, Stephen. Do you think that in November, when LSU plays Alabama, like this past year, and LSU wins that game, do you think LSU fans are like, well, that was cool, but yeah, Bama's probably still going to get in the playoff. So, no shot. No shot. I mean, you still exist in a world where you could see rematches in the conference championship game. You're not going to stop loving college football. The NFL is the most popular sport in this country. They have a big old playoff that keeps expanding. And their regular season games average 17 million views. By comparison, Ohio State and Michigan got 15 million views. So an expanded playoff is going to keep more teams engaged longer. You will always have something to play for. For example, a bye, a home game as it pertains to seeding. There's always going to be things worth playing for. And anyone who tries to convince you that an expanded playoff is bad for college football, that person is just wrong. It's how in the world could you possibly exist in an ecosystem where, like in '04, where Auburn could win every game they play and not get in? How could 2016 Penn State, who won the Big Ten, beat Ohio State, not even get a chance to play for a championship when the team they beat gets in? No way, man. No shot. Ronnie Dugard, did they get extra practices being in this game? Well, yeah, they practiced this week, like a game week. Wacky Chris, what's going on? Dalton Barnett, morning, Matt. It was great to see John Emery play well last Saturday. Been a long time coming for him. Loss sucks, but the Farm Boys got something coming next year. Go Tigers. John Emery was awesome against Bama and awesome against Florida as well. It's the thing I said after he fumbled against Arkansas. I told you all, or UAB. I was like, and everyone was like, bench John Emery, bench. I'm like, no, John Emery's your most explosive back. You don't bench John Emery. He's the guy that has the potential always to break one. John Emery's your only back that scores on that screen pass against or wheel route against Bama. So no, you're not benching him. You're hammering into him ball security. Gerald Mathern, what's good? Matt McGuire, Jeff McKithen, Sam Dixon, Keith Rosenbach. With 12-team playoff, what's the format? Who will get the bye? Top 4 get a bye. And the next 4 will host opening round games. Andrew McKinney, morning Scone, what's the likelihood that this team is just gas from lack of depth? Maybe some of that. And yeah, I expect that they'll lock in and play a great game this week. Jerry DeLucky, good morning. Michael Thacker, what happens to the committee after expansion? Well, the committee's still going to be there to determine the 12. And the ranking, the seeding, all that sort of stuff. Mark Rayner, congratulations to Coach Kelly on his first year with LSU. The future looks bright as the process continues. And to the question, though, about the committee, keep in mind your conversation about deciding 11, 12, 13, 14 is just not quite as intense as deciding number 4. Because by the time you get down to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, you're talking about a lot of 3-loss teams, man. Like right now, Clemson, K-State, Utah are both 9-3 at 10-11. 12 is Washington at 10-2. Then you got Florida State, LSU, Oregon State, Oregon, UCLA, all at 9-3. So, so the argument, right, for those teams becomes muted more so. Do you think Jaden Daniels will play this weekend? Absolutely, I do, Keith. All right, y'all, we're about to get going. As always, shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. You need an orthopedist, Brock, they're the best. brortho.com, main office there inside the Surgical Specialty Center, 8080 Bluebonnet. That's Bluebonnet right near Perkins. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com. Hudco's pinned there in the chat. So if you need a roof repair, roof replacement, no job too big or small, commercial or residential, we'd love to help you out. Say it all the time. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, hudcoroofing.com, and Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com. If you got pain, book a session with Crystal Poche over at Restored Motions. Let's see. Real quick, it's 8 o'clock. I got to go. Scone, look to next season. What would the logistics be to move the Grambling game up 2 weeks to week 0 before Florida State? Reed, I would love it if they did it. LSU's been pretty adamant with me. They're not going to ever play a week 0 game. Gregory Gordy, Nicholas Cantrell, how will teams be placed for bowls with expansion? Yeah, it won't change, Nicholas, because that first round will be on campus. And so then when you have the second round of games, those will use the access bowls, and then you'll have sort of an independent championship game like you do already. All right. I got to go. Y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see y'all tomorrow from the ATL. LSU Daily's live. Y'all check out LSU Daily. We'll see you. Peace.